Live from Financial Peace Plaza, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for joining us, America. It's a free call at 888-825-5225. Or you can go online at daveramsey.com. Click on Dave's email. Keep your emails brief and to the point, and we'll do our best to answer them as a part of the show today. I think it's really good in America that we have a debate and continue to debate about how business ought to operate. We ought to discuss how government ought to operate and how an economy ought to operate. We need to continue to educate people and understand the things that are working and the things that aren't working. And as we do that, then those of you that are intelligent enough to pull your head out of your politics and have an original thought and actually go into critical thinking on your own and actually think about a concept without the emotions of your toxic party and the emotions of your toxic upbringing and your toxic segment of the culture that you come from, whatever it is, and you step aside from that and you use enough intellect and critical thinking skills to actually analyze and look at a situation and say, okay, what really happened here and what is really working and what isn't working? The more you can do that as an individual, the better your life's going to be. The more you can do that as a family, the better your life's going to be. The more you can do that as an organization, the better that organization's life going to be. And the more this country can do that, then the better off we're going to be. The problem is that if people do not engage in enough thought, critical thinking, ability to think about a concept outside of their emotional paradigm, which is difficult. I mean, it requires effort. It requires an act of the will, because we all get pissed off and default and go into our own little world and go, well, everybody that doesn't agree with us is an idiot and that kind of stuff. I do that too. But to the extent that we can learn to do that is the extent we can move things around. And we can move other people with us. You know, and you don't talk in sound bites then. And you don't think in sound bites. The problem is we've got a culture that has been trained much more efficiently to think in talking points and sound bites than to actually have an original thought or to do critical thought. Critical thought meaning you look at a problem, you look at the answers, you objectively look at the conclusions and the evidence that is in front of you, and apart from, again, your upbringing, your political slant, you can look at that and go, yeah, I get that. I get that. Or at least, at a minimum, go to the individual that you're disagreeing with and understand their motives. Now, they could be completely wrong and be sincere. When you're sincere and you're wrong, you're sincerely wrong. And, you know, that's a possibility. But at least you can say, you know, the guy's wrong, but the gal's wrong, but he does mean well. And you could start there. I can do that for those of you that think that, for instance, government should fix everyone's problems. And that every time that there's a hurting person, that a government program should help that hurting person. As a financial person, as a person trained in economics, I know that that's not mathematically possible. It is, however, a very sweet sentiment. It's a nice thing that some of you want everyone not to hurt. I think that's nice. I would like for everyone not to hurt. I'm also a grown-up, and I realize it's not going to happen. And that sometimes a little pain, a level of pain, takes you to a better place than you've ever been before. And so, you know, therefore I push back and I go, A, there's not enough money for a government program to fix everybody that hurts. Anybody that's got any problem, a government program will fix it. There's just not enough money. well, we should tax the rich because the rich should be helping the poor. I understand your sentiment, but mathematically you're an ignoramus. It can't happen. It can't happen. There's not enough money there. If I agreed with you, and I don't, but aside from that, we just look at the dollars that the rich have, and if you took it all, it wouldn't fix everything. If you took it all, if you took it to 100% tax rate. So it's a false premise that some of your childish emotions are operating out of. Well, business should be taxed. Well, let's think about that a minute. If you want, my friend Art Laffer says, if you want to do away with apples, here's how you do it. You raise the tax on apples. People won't buy as many apples. You tax the producers of apples also extra for producing apples, and you pay people that used to produce apples not to produce apples. And guess what? There will be no apples. Well, that's what's happened with jobs. We tax the guy that works, we pay those that don't, and we tax the guy that provides the jobs. And then we are shocked that jobs go away. But that comes from this broken paradigm of we've got to tax people to fix hurting people, and then the unintended consequence of that is that people are hurt. Isn't that weird? That these well-intentioned, sweet, nice people trying to use a government program to fix someone that's broken's life understand the concept, but they end up actually hurting people to do that. It's very weird. Because broke people do not provide jobs. The government does not provide jobs. The people that hire people are those evil businesses, he says sarcastically. And so we've demonized business. We've demonized CEOs. We've demonized success. We've punished it. And then we're shocked that those elements of our culture are withering away and the jobs that they provide with them. See, there's some different critical thought for you. And that's not laced in conservatism or liberalism or Democrats or Republicans or whatever. But there's some common sense here. That, in order for money to go somewhere, it has to be somewhere first. It doesn't just appear out of thin air. And so if you want to hire people, if you want to have businesses hire people, you need to help those businesses. Why is that hard? But instead, some of you go, oh, we need to tax corporate America into oblivion. Yeah, that's a jobs program for you. Really? That's going to help jobs? Well, they're greedy. Well, but it's not going to help jobs. Silly boy. Tricks are for kids.